It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the three films of July 18th, 2008. We've got a very interesting weekend here. We have one of my favorite movies of all time, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my lifetime, and Space Chimps. So yeah, a very, very interesting week overall to look at movies. And of course, let's take a look at the biggest new release of the weekend. I mean, a little film that you might have heard of. It's a movie about a knight who's dark, and I guess he goes after a clown in this movie, and it's supposedly based off of a comic book and all that type of stuff. And I don't know, this trailer looks promising though. Okay, no more BSing around here. Of course, it's The Dark Knight. It's the second film of the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, the sequel to the Batman Begins, which helped to rejuvenate Batman in general. And, I mean, really, do I have to really say a whole lot about this that hasn't already been said already? Of course, the story, you have Batman, once again played by Christian Bale, raising the stakes in his war on crime with the help of Lieutenant Jim Gordon and District Attorney Harvey Dent, both played by Gary Oldman and Aaron Eckhart. Batman sets out to dismantle the remaining criminal organizations that plague the city streets. The partnership proves to be effective, but they soon find themselves prey to a reign of chaos unleashed by a rising criminal mastermind known in the terrified citizens of Gotham as the Joker, played, of course, by Heath Ledger. And, yeah, like I said, there's really not much more to say about this movie. This is my sixth favorite movie of all time. I've already done a video talking about why it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, just kind of running down everything here. I'll try to sum it up for you, honestly. But characters I thought are very good. The story is very solid. I love the interpretations of all these characters. You know, Christian Bale's very good in here as Bruce Wayne. Everybody in here plays their parts very well. Of course, the highlight of the film is the late Heath Ledger. The Joker, one of the great performances in the last 20 years. I mean, this is a fantastic portrayal of the Joker, and you can see why they were hyping this up as an Oscar-contending performance, because, yeah, this was a performance that was so good, chilling, terrifying, creating a whole new image of the Joker that we had not seen before at this point, and really, it's hard to find that we're ever going to see this ever again. I mean, what he did with this movie really is impressive to look at. Even after all these years later, it's still an impressive feat all across the board with this movie. I mean, these movies are pretty much the original Star Wars trilogy, the Nolan Batman movies. I mean, they are definitely very much that way. You know, both Batman Begins and Star Wars gave us a great introduction to these two worlds and characters and these great action sequences. Dark Knight and Empire Strikes Back, easily the best films in the series, and The Dark Knight Rises and Return of the Jedi, while they have flaws, are still really good movies all across the board. And it's one of the most perfectly put together movies in recent years. Like I said, I've talked about this movie in detail before on several other shows, but if you want to go check that out, hit the link in the corner to check that out. But, yeah, The Dark Knight is amazing. I mean, what more can you say except it's an amazing, amazing film. Not an amazing film is our next movie that we have here, one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and that is Mamma Mia. Yet another movie I've talked in great detail about how much I hate. Set on a colorful Greek island, the plot serves as the background for a wealth of ABBA songs. We have a young woman played by Amanda Seyfried who's about to get married, discovering that any of three men, Pierce Brosnan, Colin Firth, Stellan Skarsgård, could be her father. She invites all three of them to the wedding without telling her mother, played by Meryl Streep, who was once the lead singer of Donna and the Dynamos. In the meantime, Donna invites her backup singers, Rosie and Tanya, to the party. Rosie played by Christine Baranski, and I can't remember who played Tanya, but yeah, the movie is just really, really bad. I mean, just terrible, terrible renditions of these classic songs. I mean, these are just abysmally put together songs. It's a film that tries to be a love letter to ABBA's music library, but it ends up being one of the most annoying and the most obnoxious movies you have ever seen in your life. Nothing about it works. The music is bad, the acting is bad, the story is bad, the comedy is bad, the conflict is bad. It's an insulting film to not just ABBA fans, but to women in general, because it makes them seem inferior to who they really are. It fails on so many levels. And again, I've gone into much further detail about this movie too. If you want to go check that out, there's the link in the corner. So, not much more to say about this one here. So, let's get to a film that I have yet to cover on this show, but really, there's not much more you can say about this one here. I mean, the movie is literally called Space Chimps. I mean, what more do I need to say about this movie? I mean, that trailer alone gives you every indication of how bad this is. This was 20th Century Fox's prestige summer animated film, people. in a summer where, they also gave us What Happens in Vegas, The Happening, Meet Dave, X-Files, I Want to Believe, Mirrors. That was their summer schedule from a studio that the summer before had Live Free or Die Hard, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and The Simpsons movie. And before that, it was X-Men 3, The Last Stand. To go from X-Men 3, The Last Stand to Space Chimps in a matter of 2 years is embarrassing. And this film's terrible. You have 3 chimpanzees who go into space to an alien planet, played by Andy Samberg, Cheryl Hines, and Patrick Warburton. That's literally the plot of the movie. I mean, they go after an alien played by Jeff Daniels, Kristen Chenoweth's in here, Stanley Tucci, Jane Lynch, Kenan Thompson, and that's it, man. Like, I mean, this is the same company that also did Valiant too. So the whole thing about from the primates that brought you Shrek, you might want to put in there too. That it's made by the same people who made Valiant, because this film is not up to the levels of Shrek by any means necessary. But on the plus side, this director did eventually go on to direct great movies like The Croods, the criminally underrated Vivo, and also another criminally underrated movie, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. So, hey, you can improve as a director from a movie like Space Chimps. I mean, there's nothing really more you could say about this movie, about how bad it is. The animation looks incredibly choppy. The comedy is terrible. I mean, you saw it in the trailer there, like, lines that you've heard to death so many times before. Oh, that's gotta hurt. And, like, and even in the trailer, it's the way that character leads that line. Like, did that look like it really hurt him as much as any other time you hear the line, that's gotta hurt? I don't think so. Like, it'd be something if there was something funny to it, but no, there's just nothing there, man. This is a terrible movie. This is a film that feels like a studio picked it up under desperation because, hey, they needed something to compete with Wall-E and Kung Fu Panda, and yeah, comparing those two movies to this film, of course those films are going to win easily, no question about it. This, however, is not going to win because nobody ever wins with Space Chimps. Nobody, So yeah, not much more to say about that one. Space Chimps, terrible movie, piece of garbage, cheap animated film that Fox grabbed because this was supposed to be their prestige summer animated film, and the fact that this is what it's come down to, yeah, this movie sucks, plain and simple. And so with all of that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we'll take a look at 2 more big movies, including Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly in the comedy Step Brothers, which everybody seems to like. I'm not going to say how I feel about it, but just be prepared to be disappointed if you like this movie. But and we also have another movie that's one of Fox's prestigious summer movies, the sequel that nobody was asking for, The X-Files, I Want to Believe. And you'll want to believe that there's a much better thing that these two can be involved in, Mulder and Scully. But we will take a look at both of those movies coming up tomorrow on the show, so check that out then. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification and the bell, because that's where you get updates on when new videos come out. We do post new videos here every day. So, with all that said, I'm off. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.